July 23rd, 1967. My life changed a lot. As I remember, we had a game, and it came in a security reason. It said everybody should go home, and they'll let us know when we start back playing baseball. I got my duffel bag and put my regular clothes in my duffel bag, and I ended up in the big rides on 12th Street. That's home. That's where I used to have one of my old paper routes down on 12th Street. And a lot of people I know down there, I thought it was a war going on. You seeing things get burned and people hollering and people running in the streets. And I got on the car and just put my hand up to people trying to bring some kind of peace to the people. But as I look back, I remember the people worrying about Willie Horton. Willie, go home for your safety. Go home. Don't get hurt out here.
There was nothing Willie Horton could do to prevent what was to come. He watched, helpless, as Detroit, the nation's 5th largest city at the time, self-destructed. For 5 days, the city burned as the riots of '67 raged. When the smoke cleared, over 7,000 people had been arrested, nearly 1,200 injured, and 43 lives were lost.
It had been 10 to 15 years in the making because Detroit had been gradually becoming a suburbia region and not a city. And that created a disconnect between black and white because it was the whites who were moving out into the suburbs and the blacks were in the city. And that became that sort of powder keg. And in '67, it finally erupted.
After monumental mayhem and millions of dollars in destruction from one of the largest riots in American history, the healing process would be slow. In 1968, Detroit began to find renewed inspiration and purpose through baseball. The city needed hope, and the Tigers answered. While the city was still visibly scarred, it was the Tigers that raged on. Detroit dominated the American League, finishing the season in first place with 103 wins, a 12-game improvement over the previous year.
And the Tigers have won their first pennant since 1945.
They captured the pennant, setting up a World Series matchup with the defending champion St. Louis Cardinals, who featured Lou Brock, Orlando Cepeda, and the great Bob Gibson.
The Cardinals were God's baseball team. They were unbeatable.
They were the golden team. They were the team that had all the stars. We had stars too, but we didn't get the publicity that they did.
We know what type of team we had, and we know we're going to be in a dogfight with them guys.
Game 5, the Tigers are down 3-1, and it looks like they're going to be eliminated in the series.
Line drive in the left. Horton's up with it. Brock's being waved around. The throw by Horton, and he is safe. Out! He's out! They call him out of the plate. Base hit for Kaline, and the Tigers have taken the lead. There's a tap to the pitcher. Over to Cash, and it's all over.
When they won that game, that was the starting point of when they were about to mount one of the great comebacks in baseball history.
A city that had seen racial and socioeconomic tensions boil over, sparking massive riots, a city that lay smoldering under the rubble just 15 months earlier, stood true behind their Tigers as they won the final 2 games of the 7-game series to bring a world championship to Detroit.
McCarver pops up. Here's Freeman. Detroit, the new world champion. A lot of folks thought the Detroit Tigers were through, but they really have come back and have taken this 1968 World Series.
I seen black and white people came together, and that's a beautiful feeling because they start showing the hair of each other. It helped us as a team.
It made people forget 3 hours every night. That's what helped get the city of Detroit through a hot summer of '68.
The problems didn't go away, we know that, but where everybody pulled together, we were that kind of dynamite thing that was right there. That the Detroit Tigers, they're proud of the Detroit Tigers.
They played a very critical role in helping this city realize, for all the things that divide us, there are more things that bring us together.
45 years later, Detroit again finds itself pushed to the brink, challenged to respond or fade away. the circumstances are different. Economic upheaval, corruption, poverty, uncertainty. The effects of a modern financial plague zeroing in on a seemingly susceptible city. And again, Detroit looks to baseball as a source of hope to lift the city as much as baseball possibly can.
Sad right now that the financial situation the city's in, but you never know it by the attitude of their people.
The support that they've continued to show us throughout this tough time, has been unbelievable. To see the city kind of come from its ashes and grow and hopefully become a flourishing city like it was in the past, I think that's the goal. That's the goal of everybody here. I want to be part of that. I want to be part of the flourishing Detroit like it should be.
If this team can win a World Series, it would be bigger than 1968 or 1984. It would be incredibly therapeutic for the psyche of this town. It's not going to solve everything, but it will provide that important step forward in thinking that, you know what, if we can do this, then there's nothing we can't achieve.